Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. I'm I'm in the armory. I am doing some reloading, but we're going to go ahead and talk while I'm doing that. Liberty Doll had a live stream yesterday, and I thought it was amazing, as usual, so I had a lot of fun with it. But she was very concerned about the current state of the polls, okay? And now, I understand her position. I am actually not a party Republican, but I am a Republicanist. I'm an imperialist too, but I'm a Republicanist. I value strongly the idea of the Republic itself, the concept, the idea, what we're doing in America. And she's much more on the voluntarist side of things. So it's very odd for someone like her to have concerns about an election, because most people in the libertarian, especially the voluntarist libertarian establishment, let's use the word, think that elections are shams. Like, the whole idea of an election is that you're voting for someone to tell you what to do, and that's just wrong. There's a cynical aspect to that, and Liberty Doll doesn't do the cynical thing very well at all. She's not cynical. Just like, not part of her nature. And the cynical side is that it doesn't matter what you vote for, because just the fact that there is a winner and a loser, or someone outside of yourself who can decide things about the social contract or society, means that you have been enslaved. You're robbed. And it's very cynical. So there's no supporting any candidate for office except Vermin Supreme, of course. Possibly one of the Pauls on a good day, but the both Rand and Ron do things like involve themselves with government, which taints them, right? Whatever. So, where does that leave someone like Liberty Doll? How do you end up supporting Donald Trump? And it's not that she supports Donald Trump. I'm not going to put words in her mouth. But I think that Joe Biden scares her more. The thing about Trump, and the thing that a lot of libertarians and voluntarists and anarchists actually understand, is that Trump is anti-establishment. He's pro-business, which is great if you're an anarcho-capitalist, horrible if you're an anarcho-humanist, whatever, okay? Actually, it's fairly good if you're anarcho-humanist, but anarcho-Marxist, it's bad. Okay, so that's horrible, right? But Trump is anti-establishment. That's the key thing. He really, truly is. He's pro-business. Like, he's not trying to tear down society. He's trying to tear down the swamp. And he's perfectly willing to work with the idea that those who have decide. Those who do make decisions because they do stuff. That kind of thing works. But the swamp is the bureaucratic, deep state, establishment state, administrative state. And that's not what's going on. It's people who don't have an involvement with my farm telling me how to use my water. But they don't have an idea. They've never left the Beltway. So anyway, Trump is less scary. Trump is less damaging. Trump is so much less of a threat to personal liberty that you have a lot of people on the libertarian side, the voluntarist side, even the anarchist side, who want Trump to win desperately. Biden and Harris is scary as shit. How many more people do you want to see in prison? I mean, remember, that's the basis of their careers. A lot of people are like, it's not the end of the world if Biden wins. He's totally establishment. It's just more establishment. Yeah, but establishment does some crazy stuff. I'm 50 years old. That whole Ruby Ridge thing was pretty bad. Waco, like burning the Seventh-day Adventists in their house. Like, I'm old enough to have seen that on TV. I've seen what happened to start it. the ATF shooting each other. Bad stuff. Establishment law enforcement on a federal level? Not really a fan, dude. Sorry. I'm absolutely a patriot, but Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in charge of the FBI and the ATF scares the fuck out of me. So the polls. Got to talk about the polls because that's the whole big thing. Liberty Doll is scared, righteously, and rightly so, because the polls are showing like massive, Biden's got it locked down. And that is absolutely horrible for anyone who wants to stay out of a gulag and isn't part of the Steve S. left. If you don't know what that means, part of the Twitter blue check left, okay? I want to stay out of gulags too. I'm just like completely neutral on the whole revolution's coming, great. Revolution's not coming, great. I'm okay. I'm gonna have fun. I have a life. It's an adventure. The polls are wrong. I'm not saying the polls are wrong and it means that Biden won't win. Although I suspect that Biden's going to get his ass handed to him. But the polls are wrong. The polls are wrong because the polls aren't anything like a reality-based measure in this instance. We have more voter turnout in early voting than we've ever had total turnout ever before in history. The models don't exist for this. There is no modeling for this, okay? The black entertainment establishment, and I'm not, whatever, if I'm using the wrong words, just educate me and tell me what word I'm supposed to use. The person of color of African descent, whatever, the black entertainment establishment has finally said, yo, fuck your plantation, show me the money. And you know what? Sorry, that's I'm from California originally, and that's that's actually San Diego surfer speak, not actually me trying to act like a black person. Show me the money. That is a huge change. What happens? What is the effect on an election when major African American celebrities say, whoa, 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 too much government, too much tax. Y'all aren't doing anything for me. What does that do? There's Tim Pool says he's got notes from all these political theorists and political science, and if Donald Trump gets 9% of the black vote, there's no way he can lose. The rest of the election's kind of that's wrong too, because no one has the model for this kind of turnout. But what happens if Donald Trump gets 30%, 40%? I mean, more black people have had jobs under Trump than ever in history. You think that just goes away? And who's responsible for all the lockdowns? I don't care if you believe the lockdowns are good or bad. Who's responsible for the job losses? CNN says, Donald Trump did it single-handedly. Those black people live in communities. Those communities are run by Democrats. Those Democrats are enforcing lockdowns. Losing your job. What does that do to the vote? And I'm not trying to harp on the African American vote, okay? Because the Hispanic vote and the Asian vote are going to be unbelievable. The regular white middle class American vote is pretty obvious, okay? You've got the urban Bernie, or sorry, the urban Biden, and you've got the rural Trump. Basically, that's what it boils down to. And it's not necessarily urban and rural in where you live. It's how you think. Okay, it's the state mandate versus the individual liberty, and there's no argument about this. Okay, there's nothing there about this. All right, free speech, voting for Trump, done. End of story. Gun control, voting for Biden, done. End of story. There's not a lot of middle ground here, but the Hispanic vote, What happens if suddenly you have a career and you're in California, Nevada, Michigan, whatever, and your Democratic governor shuts you down? Do you vote Democrat? Is Biden going to do that? Biden wants a national lockdown. Is that going to win him the election? So, I mean, the African American vote is big. It's a huge deal because that's why the Democrats win when the Democrats win. They rely absolutely on the bread and circus' African American vote. And that is what it is. Okay, Truman set it up. It's multi-generational bread and circus' welfare state. You give these people a job, a little bit of pride, a little bit of success, and then you take it away. And you say, Trump didn't give it to you, but Trump took it away from you. But Donald Trump was the one who was president when you got a job, and it's your governor who lost your job. Where are you going to vote? What's going to happen? And then you've got black celebrities who are like, yeah, Trump. What does that do? The polling, they don't know. They have no clue what they're doing. They have no clue what they're guessing. They have no clue what they're measuring. They're doing likely voters. What's a likely voter in 2020? Everyone? Have they changed the polling? Have they actually changed the polling? Are they actually asking different people the questions? No. They have no idea. Now, I'm not going to say Trump's going to win. I know that there's going to be a lot of challenges to the election because you can watch, the media won't let you know about it if you pay attention to the media, but you can go on YouTube, you can go on bitchute, you can watch fraud being videotaped, you can watch people brag about it. You can go on the internet and say, hey, look, the security on these websites is fucked. And it is fucked up bad. So I can't tell you what the results of the election are going to be because I can't tell you if election irregularities, election fraud, I'm not saying voter fraud, but I don't like to use the word fraud because there's a whole lot of different crimes in there, and fraud is a very narrow definition. But I don't know if election cheating, whichever way it takes, is going to be at that 2 to 4% level or if it's going to be at 15%. It's always there. We always fight it, and you have to have trust in the system. You have to fight it. You have to bring it out. You have to battle it. You have to not deny its existence. You have to work to keep things honest. And that's something the Democrats have utterly failed at. They want people to believe that because they say so, suddenly there's no problems. There's never going to be a cheating problem. Come on, dude. Did you even go to school? Elementary school? Like, cheating on tests? People do it. So I don't know what the rate is going to be. Like, I know that the mail-in ballot system is very insecure, and I know that in order to secure it, a lot of weird things are being put in place that are going to deny the vote to a lot of people. I went and voted in person, but because we're doing coronavirus, weird-ass, whatever bullshit, I didn't sign my name on a piece of paper in the voter logbook like I normally do. I had to use a sticky rubber pen. It's sticky because of an overuse of alcohol-based cleaners on a screen that has been cleaned with alcohol 5,000 times already today, to try to scrawl a signature at an awkward angle way too low while I'm left-handed. If you don't know what that means, it means I write like this, not like this, so it's actually like impossible to do a signature on a touchscreen. And of course the machine didn't recognize my signature. Duh! Even the best AI software isn't really going to recognize that unless it has a huge sample. Okay, you can actually figure that out from a large enough sample, but it doesn't. It has one signature for my registration. So they checked my ID. Boom, I'm in. My vote counts. Because you can check the ID to verify when the signature doesn't. How many of those mail-in ballots, the signature's not going to match? Well, what do? Call everyone in your state, call 2 million people, 4 million people, 8 million people in your state and say, hey, yo, if you want your vote to count, you need to come back down with your ID and verify your ballot. Is everyone going to do that? What percentage of people is going to do that? Is that going to happen? Are those votes just going to magically count? We don't care about signatures anymore? We don't know who did it? What's going to happen? No one knows. No one knows what the votes are going to be like in the counting. No one knows if the polls have any semblance of reality. We know that they don't account for anything that is actually going on with the election. Because the election universe and the modeled universe are vastly different. And that, Liberty Doll, is your one big positive of the day. The pollsters don't know shit. Stay sideways.